And yeah, so in the members area, guys, for Ecom Insider, you should log in. If you scroll all the way to the bottom of the Ecom Insider section of the members area, at the bottom there is where all of the monthly calls will be loaded up, and you can register for the calls. You can also access all the recordings right there. And then if you haven't noticed yet, we're modularizing that area so that it's easier to have everything in one place for different things. So if you want to look at the breakdowns, the monthly anatomy breakdown is in the same section as your issue 1 for Ecom Insider. And then next month's anatomy breakdown will be in the issue 2. Now, the issue 2 and 3 icons are both showing up in the members area right now. It's a little glitch. It's not supposed to be happening, but those haven't even been released yet, so that's why you can't click them, and that's why it says buy. Okay, you guys don't have to buy them. You're already part of the academy, and those will be released, next month and then the month after as they actually come out. So if you're looking at those wondering why it's telling you that, that's why. So Johnny, that's totally fine. Johnny says, hey, I haven't received a copy of my book yet. Johnny, it's called the post office, and we can't control their shipping. I can have someone check for you, and we'll make sure. I'm sure it's been shipped, but once it's in the postal stream, we can't control the delivery of it. But we can definitely check on your order for you. Oz says the audiobook is amazing. Thanks, Oz. I appreciate that. All right. Okay, gang, let's go ahead and dive in. Diana, you are on chapter 7. Awesome. The data, super duper data. KS, no, we're currently not shipping the book to Malaysia, but we can ship the Insider and stuff like that. The monthly Insider goes out like normal mail, like an envelope. So it doesn't have the same restrictions as the book, which has to go out as a package. So all the insiders living internationally will be able to get the magazines and all the other pieces in the mail. The book is one of those things that we're still having issues with certain countries. So it's just because it actually costs us more to ship it than you can get it for on Amazon. It's just ridiculous. So rather than charge you more than you can get it for, we're just telling you guys to go grab it from Amazon. And then if you want the other packages and pieces like that, you can still get those from us, and we can give you special links for that. All right, guys, let's go ahead and kick this sucker off. So what we're going to be doing today is our monthly What's Working Now calls. And we're going to kick it off with a behind-the-scenes look at the Facebook ad network. So this is our monthly What's Working Now call. Again, we do one of these calls every month. You're welcome to ask questions as we go, and I will do my best to catch them. If I don't, I can answer them for you at the end of the training. Also, since I'm showing you kind of what's working now and what we're doing, if you have a random question like Norman just popped in with, let's save that for the end, and I'll actually be able to answer that where it doesn't divert us from the actual training. So let's keep our questions focused to what we're actually talking about to make the recording as useful for you guys later on as possible and the training. And then we can obviously take all the random questions and stuff like that and just different questions at the end. All right, so you guys ready? Actually, before we start, how many of you guys are actively running Facebook ads right now? How many of you guys buy traffic on Facebook? Just put a 1 in the box, or a me, or a yes, or whatever. 1 if you are, 2 if you're not. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, trying, yes, 2. James, why not? Why aren't you running ads? Yes. Aurora, why aren't you running ads? Cool. All right. So go ahead and type your response in there. I'm curious why, Aurora, you're not sure why you're not running Facebook ads right now? Are you trying to sell a product? Oh, well, we got to fix that. You're not selling a product. That's the whole point of being here, is to start selling something. All right. So guys, what we're going to do right now is I'm going to take you into the ads network, and we're going to go look at what really makes the Facebook ad platform tick. Now, all of us are running ads in our businesses, or most of us are, and you know, the problem is all we look at is we're like, okay, to run an ad, I need to set this up and set this up and set this up. So we only see the surface level. What I want to do is I want to take you behind the scenes and kind of explain to you how it works and why some of the things that happen to you or that you notice as you're running ads are occurring. So this is the kind of the behind the scenes things that are nobody really talks about, and it'll give you a lot of insight into how the ad platform works, how you need to look at it, how you need to structure your ads, and what the important things are that Facebook's actually looking for in order for you to get the most effective traffic to your offer and ideally have it convert, all right? So again, guys, as we go through this, if you have questions, fire away. We'll be happy to answer them. And then if they're, again, let's keep them focused on the topic though, all right? So understanding the Facebook ad auction. So first of all, you need to think of the back end of the Facebook ad platform as an engine, okay? So it is a massive engine that drives the entire advertising platform across Facebook, the Audience Network, and Instagram. One massive platform type engine basically runs all those networks, okay? So everything happens in this one ad auction platform. Now, the crazy thing is it's actually an artificial intelligence. I know that sounds kind of weird, but it really is. It has machine learning capability, and it's super smart, and it gets smarter every single second of the day. And it's making billions of algorithmic decisions every single second that relate to the advertising platform. Okay, so it may be about auctions, it may be about conversion rates, it may be about targeting, but it's making billions of these algorithmic decisions that are all based on mathematical formulas and logic, and every one of those decisions adds to the Facebook ad platform's artificial intelligence and its ability to make the right decisions to serve these ads. So auctions, when the Facebook ad platform is actually an auction. That's why when they say, you know, set your bid price for your, you know, how much you're going to pay per impression or pay per click or pay per conversion, it's actually a bid. You are putting your bid out there into this network saying, hey, I'm willing to bid or spend up to 50 cents for this click. And everybody else in the world who are bidding on that same audience or whatever is saying, I'll bid 50 cents or 60 cents or whatever. And then Facebook is now calculating all of that and looking at all those different bids, and it's serving up over 100,000 different auctions every single second, okay? Now an auction is for, basically for a specific audience. So if you're targeting, you know, nurses who are 35 to 45 years old, and there may be 10,000 other people also trying to target nurses within that demographic, there could be upwards of 100,000 ads or more, you know, being served every second within that category. It's usually not quite that high across a narrow niche like that, but it's just massive. The point is this machine, basically, Skynet, if you will, is doing this, right? Hasn't started killing us yet, but it's got some amazing power, and it knows more about us from a big data standpoint than anybody. Now, the goal of the Facebook ad auction is to deliver the best customer experience, meaning the most targeted audience, to show them the most targeted and best performing ad. What's up, Lester? Okay, so this is how the Facebook ad auction platform is working. It's a machine that's smart, and it learns based on every single transaction and every single result of that transaction. So when you run an ad and you get a conversion, it sends you get clicks, and all of a sudden it gets results in a sale. Facebook is looking at the entire path of that, and I'll explain that in a minute. And they're actually making data points and tracking that, and now they have a little bit more data. And then that is happening hundreds of thousands of times a second, all these different conversions, and every time that happens, Facebook gets a little bit better and a little bit smarter and a little bit, you know, more in tune with exactly who's going to buy. Oh, are you guys not seeing slides? Yeah, that would help. How about now? Can you? Thanks, Natasha, for saving me. Can you guys see the slides? KS, can you see them now? Okay, well, I haven't gone over, this is the only slide I've had, so you haven't missed anything. I was just talking it out. Okay, so apologies for that. Thank you, Natasha. Appreciate it. So this is the goal of the Facebook ad platform, okay? It needs this data, and that's why it has all these tracking pixels and everything else, and that's also why Facebook is by far the best platform for buying advertising, because it has more data, it's smarter, and it can actually serve up a better audience and the highest likelihood of serving up the right person to match with your offer of anything out there. All right. So the other thing you need to understand is Facebook is required, this machine out there is required to compare apples to oranges and figure out a way to weight them equally so that it can then allow the calculation of the different bids coming in to be equal. Okay, so what I'm saying there, let's say Norman is running a increase, what you see on the screen right now are all the different ways you can optimize your ad. So you want to optimize for posts, promoted page, optimize for conversions, optimize for app installs. All of these are different options that you can use, right? So let's say Norman is optimizing for increased conversions and Corey is optimizing for app installs and KS is optimizing for video views. So they all have different objectives, right? But let's say all three of those people, they're all targeting, let's just say the nurse niche again, because we already talked, they're all three targeting the same nurse audience. They have different objectives with their ad, but they're all targeting the same people. Facebook's ad engine has to figure out a way to calculate which of these ads is most relevant, which of these ads has the highest likelihood of serving up user experience and benefit to the advertiser, because if they don't take care of the advertiser, we won't spend money with them. And so they have to create this formula called BEAR, B-E-A-R, that equates all of these different optimization possibilities, and it gives them a score that allows us to equalize them on one different scoring metric. Okay, so whereas conversions are different than views and things like that, in Facebook's eyes, when they do this BEAR calculation, it winds up with everything has a BEAR score. Okay, it's called a total value. That BEAR score is what they use when they go into the auction, and that score is what is going to determine whether or not you're going to win or not. All right. Is this making sense, guys? A little confusing, I understand. I'm going to clarify it as we go, but I want to make sure you guys are still with me. How many of you guys already knew this stuff? Nope, 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 nope. One person. Okay. Okay. All right, cool. So let's keep going. So this is how it works. So the ad rank, okay, so the ad rank is what value, what BEAR formula value your ad has in the current auctions that are going on. So what that works out to is the total value is broken down. This is how the BEAR formula works. You have your advertiser bid, which is how much you are bidding on whatever the optimization is that you're doing, clicks, impressions, conversion rate, whatever, times the estimated action rates. So what they're doing is they're looking at, based on X number of percentages or X number of impressions, how likely are these people who see this who have the impression fired, are they going to convert or video view or app install or whatever the actual optimization thing is. So advertiser bid times estimated action rates plus relevance and quality. Okay, so the two blue factors are all about advertiser value. The purple is all about the consumer and the end user, the customer of Facebook. Remember, we are not Facebook's customer. The end user, the Facebook profile owner that we're showing the ads to, is who Facebook truly cares about. Now, their shareholders, on the other hand, care about the people in the blue, which is us, because we're the ones that make them the money. So the ad with the highest total value wins the auction. Now, the reality of this is the BEAR formula that they use, they are not going to share the actual calculation of that. But we do know certain things that we can manipulate to ensure that our total value score is as high as possible, so that when we go to the auction, when Norman, KS, and Corey are all competing on the same thing, hopefully one of them has optimized what it works out to. Yeah, Norman, BEAR stands for bid, action rate, and relevance. Estimated action, sorry, not action rate, estimated action. So the idea here is that you want to optimize each one of these different calculations. Aurora, we're going to get into that in a second. I just got to make sure you understand the framework before we talk about the tactical stuff. You're trying to optimize your bid, optimize your conversion rates and action rates, and then optimize also the relevance and quality for your audience. And if you get that good together, so relevance and quality, that's like your relevance score for your ad, right? It also looks at your engagement and all these different pieces on there. So if you can optimize each one of these three areas, you're going to have a higher ad score, okay, a higher total value, which it means that you're going to win. Your chances are higher of winning the auction. The ad. So let's go with Norman, Corey, and KS. They're all targeting nurses. They all have 3 different ads with 3 different conversion goals. Whichever one of those 3 has the highest total value is going to win the majority of the auctions for that audience. They're going to get the best traffic. And let's say it was Norman who won, then KS and Corey are going to wind up with whatever's left over, whatever didn't convert for Norman or whatever, just the slot traffic, okay? And up until Norman hits his budget, and as soon as he maxes out his budget, they're going to keep running the auctions again and say, oh, who's the next person that has the next highest total value that still has budget left to spend? And then they're going to show it to you, okay? Does this make sense, guys? Moral of this story is have the highest total value you possibly can. All right, so here's a quick tip. Norman, no. Norman says bid and estimated action are more important than relevance. Not at all. They would say they're actually equal. And I'll explain that when we actually get into where we can talk about the relevance score and how that affects your ad account. So a tip, more placements equals increased delivery and chances of winning the auction. The one thing that Facebook is doing right now, so Facebook's all about serving up the right ad to the best possible match and all of that. However, Facebook now has a larger ad network. They have Instagram ads. They have Audience Network. And those platforms are not getting leveraged nearly as heavily as the Facebook platform. So right now, Facebook is giving precedence and weight, an additional little bump in their total value score to advertisers who are willing to take on more placements in their ads. So if you're willing to run your ad to both Facebook, the Audience Network, and Instagram, you are going to have a higher chance of winning the auction. So for example, if Norman and KS are both targeting nurses, KS is only advertising on Facebook, and Norman is willing to advertise on all 3 networks, and they both have the same total value score of 9, the fact that Norman's willing to advertise on more networks or on more placement positions, Norman's going to win the auction. Bruce, the Audience Network is like Facebook's network of sites that spread the ads out. Was that? Oh, KS had an aha moment right there. Additionally, on this tip, a lot of the times, because Facebook is giving you preference, because you're spending more money on their multiple platforms, they'll actually get better traffic, thereby reducing the actual cost that you're paying per conversion. Now, Ed's asking, how's the conversion from Instagram and Audience Network? Ed, it 100% depends on your creative, your ads, I mean, so many different things, but it is working, and it does work as long as you dial in your targeting as well as your creative. It's the same thing with Facebook. You just got to dial it in. Now, there have been cases where people have run on the Audience Network and the Instagram network as well as Facebook, and they were losing money on the Instagram sales and the Audience Network sales, but they were making so much more because they were winning more auctions on the Facebook side that it was still worth it to lose on those 2 networks. That's going to depend upon, what you're running, your traffic, your price points, and all those things, but it's interesting to note that that is actually possible. So, maximizing your delivery in the Facebook ad auction. All right. Yeah, Ed, this is good stuff. Okay. So let's get into this. So is your ad not showing enough? Well, in this case, if your ad is not showing enough, you got an ad out there that, it started out okay, but it's not getting enough reach. You're not getting enough impressions. It's just kind of languishing there and getting nowhere. Well, what that means is you're not winning enough of the auctions for that audience. So again, if you're marketing to nurses and your ad is not showing to nurses, well, the nurses are still there. Your ad's just not getting shown. So what's happening is that you're not winning the auctions. So right now, the last basically month and a half, almost 2 months on Facebook, the ad network has been going crazy for people, right? It's been just terrible reach. Nobody's been able to convert. They're getting crappy traffic, all of that. How many of you guys have experienced that? Like your worst month or two on Facebook in the last month, right? On your Facebook ads. Oz says yes, yes, yes. Okay, this is what's going on, guys. You're not winning the auctions. And why? Because during this part of the year, two things happen. Number one, major corporations have to dump their ad budgets and dump their advertising budgets to spend all the money that they have for their left in their budget. Because if they don't, big companies are dumb. Basically what they do is if you don't utilize your ad budget, then next year they say, hey, you didn't use it all, so you don't need that much of an ad budget, so we're going to cut your budget. So every year around this time, all these companies start dumping their ad budget to make sure that they spend every penny so that they can get the same allotment next year or more. So there's a lot more people, big companies dumping serious money on Facebook ads, and they're paying ridiculous rates for traffic. Okay, the other piece is, and again, these are all in consumer markets, which is what we all sell to, right? If you're in any of the B2B markets, you'll notice a lot less upheaval in the ad network as compared to the consumer markets. The other reason is, so Facebook is now a public company. They're driven to make profit. And all of their different high-level ad account reps have a budget to hit of, tens of millions of dollars that they have to hit just during this section, meaning they have to help advertisers spend, tens of millions of dollars. And each one of these guys has the same deal. What that means is these high-level guys are helping these companies do as much optimization in-house as they possibly can to really tweak the system so that they will continue to spend more money. So not only are these guys willing to spend tons of money, and like if you can spend 50 cents, they're going to spend $1, that kind of thing. And the reality is that not only are they spending more, but they're getting help from their Facebook reps that are actually helping them optimize their ads. Okay. Now, we get some help like that too from our rep, who's, a very, very high level guy, but even right now, he's not even responding to us because he's busy trying to hit his goals. So they definitely cater to the ones that are spending, are willing to spend 4 times as much as we are and, have the major budgets to do that. So that's what happens. And then you'll notice, like even today and yesterday, the ads have started performing better again. Everybody's kind of making sales again. They're climbing again. And it's the same thing for us, guys. This is what happens, though, and it's pretty consistently every year, okay? And you'll understand more and more how this is getting handled as we get into this. So how do you fix it? The 3 things you can do. You can improve your bid. So maybe you're bidding too low, and it could be as little as a penny. So if you're bidding 50 cents and someone else is bidding 51 cents, you are literally losing all the auctions by 1 penny. Okay, so it literally can be that close. Like you could be a penny away from completely owning your market and getting all the traffic you can handle. You just don't know. So improving the bid is one thing. The relevance, okay? If your relevance score on your ad is low, that's your first red flag. That means that ad is not going to perform. So you need to figure out what's wrong with the relevance on it. What is it? Why is it not relating? Why is the audience not engaging with it? And what can you do to change that? And then conversion action. Maybe you're optimizing for the wrong thing, or maybe you need to optimize your conversion rates because you're getting good traffic. And Facebook says, hey, I'm sending you these people, and we know that these are buyers for this audience. However, they're not converting. Okay, so does your sales message suck? Is the product a mismatch or something like that? Or can you do anything to optimize your conversion? All right, so those are the things you want to do when your ad is not showing enough. Now, when you optimize for conversion, okay, so most of us selling physical products are going to most likely optimize our ads to convert, right? We want to make a purchase, so we're optimizing for conversions on our website. When you're doing this, the ideal thing you want to do here is you don't want to be bidding for clicks or impressions. You want to set a bid for your conversion value, okay? So you want to bid on the conversion. So what we're looking at here, and again, if you're going to do this, you want to use manual bidding. You don't want to optimize bidding if you're going to use conversion value. So you set your bid to the max value you break even on a conversion. So if your break-even value on a conversion is worth $20 to you, meaning you can spend $20 to sell a product and you break even on it with no profit, that is what you want to set your conversion value at, all right? So your conversion value is 20, then when you're going to set your manual bid per conversion, at $20. You do this at the ad set level, all right? Why? You're telling Facebook that, hey, every conversion you send me is worth $20 to me. I will and we're not saying what it's worth in the sale price, we're worth at a break even, meaning you can afford to spend $20 and break even and make no profit but to acquire that customer. Don't worry, don't think, oh, I don't make any money. That's fine. You're not actually going to spend that, but it lets the artificial intelligence know and the machine learning go, okay, hey, I can go that high. So it gives the machine learning more wiggle room to find those pockets of traffic that are going to convert the best for you. Because there's over 1 billion people on Facebook. There's a lot of traffic, but there is a finite, like a limited amount of traffic that will convert at each different price point. So let's say you're getting conversions at $4. Okay, well, at some point, you're going to exhaust the available amount of people who would convert at that price point. Facebook's going to be like, hey, I've given you all of them. So the only way you're going to get more is to increase your conversion value, increase your conversion bid, right? So by setting it at your max right away, Facebook is saying, hey, okay, I can serve him up anybody up to $20 that will convert. And what happens is you get way more sales, okay? And when you get the more sales you get, the more Facebook's machine learning is able to look at your account and go, okay, they basically look at the custom audience of your buyers and they're going, aha, these are all the characteristics that these guys share. And then they can go back out and serve up even more accurate ads so that you have a higher likelihood of getting more conversions. When that happens, your actual cost per conversion continues to drop because Facebook is learning and getting more dialed in on who your target customer that actually buys is. But Facebook also knows that, hey, we can spend more if we're maxing out at $7 conversions. Instead of stopping serving you ads, they're just going to go up to $7.20 and keep serving you conversions at $7.20. And then when they run out of those people, they're going to go up to $7.40. Whereas if you had set your conversion or bid your clicks too low at like $5, well, as soon as they hit that $5 limit, they're going to just stop serving your ad and you're not going to get any more conversions. Does this make sense? This is a very, very important piece to why people are not winning and getting continuing conversions. Good stuff so far? William, you needed this? Awesome. Okay. Now, if your delivery slows down, Ed says, do you generally recommend manual bids versus auto bids? If you're bidding on a conversion value, manual all the way. If you're just doing, you're bidding for clicks or just optimizing for conversion but not naming a conversion value, or you don't know your conversion value, then you want to do auto bid, okay? The whole link click manual bid strategy, if you're not good at ads, I don't recommend you jump into that because it's a great way to lose a lot of money. It's not necessary. And until you actually, just because you hear like 3 or 4 people posting screenshots about how awesome link click manual bids are, it's not showing you the other gazillion people who are losing their ass doing it, okay? So if your delivery of your ads slows down, the artificial intelligence doesn't think that it can deliver more conversions at that max bid or below. That's what I was just explaining to you, right? So if your max bid that you had set was $7, once the AI feels that it's sent all the people who will convert at that $7 range to you, it's just going to stop showing you ads or it's going to slow down because it has no more good stuff to be able to send you. Now, the thing you want to do here is increase the bid, first of all, if there's wiggle room. So if you're at 7, but you can really go to 14, bump that bid, the conversion bid, up to $14 and say, hey, I will spend up to $14 for each conversion, and all of a sudden your ad serving will go back up. If you can't increase the bid, then you want to increase the budget. That's the other option, and that's actually a very important aspect as well that we're going to cover now. Your conversion bid is super important because that's telling Facebook how much you can spend to acquire that customer. The other thing that's important is, again, this is machine learning, so it's algorithmic. It's not intuitive, it's algorithmic. So it has to be a math problem. So everything is solved by using high-level math, sometimes basic math, but regardless of that, there have to be, you're solving for something at every point. In this case, your delivery of how many conversions you're going to get is based on your bid, your total score, as well as your daily budget, all right? So let me get you into understanding how the conversion rate calculations work, okay? First of all, one-day conversions are weighted heavier in your favor than conversions that happen after the 24-hour mark. So if someone clicks your ad, they come back 24 hours or 26 hours later, that's not going to count as heavily as somebody who clicks and then buys within the first 24 hours. Facebook is going to give heavier preference to your ads because the action is happening quicker, and Facebook's algorithm says, hey, if the person buys quickly after clicking the ad, they are more satisfied. Okay? So they're going to, that's important. The more immediate sales that you can generate, the better. Additionally, predictions on what's going to convert, like the intelligence predicting your conversions, are heavily impacted by the daily budget as it relates to the max bid per conversion. So the example here is if you have set a $5 conversion bid where you're willing to spend $5 for every conversion, and then you set your daily budget at $5, meaning you'll spend up to $5 a day, Facebook's algorithm looks at that and says, okay, so anywhere between 0 and 1 sales a day is what this formula is going to produce, meaning anywhere between 0 and 1. So what happens? Facebook will often, and for most of the days of the week, send you 0 sales because according to the algorithm, it's doing exactly what your calculation says it should. And then occasionally, you'll get 1 sale a day. And then you go right back to 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, just randomly like that. Because your daily budget is constraining your conversions, okay? And if you have multiple days in a row like this, the AI will say, hey, we're doing what this ad is supposed to be doing, but we're not serving the customer because none of the customers are buying. So the customer experience is low. So we're going to slow down the delivery of that ad or halt it completely and start giving the options to somebody else. The other thing that can really hurt this is splitting the daily budgets between too many ad sets in the same campaign will hurt delivery and performance of all the ads in that campaign. So if you have a campaign and you have a daily budget of, let's say, $50 and you have, let's say it's $100 and you have 10 ad sets, well, now you got $10 a day. Okay, so what you're doing there is you're actually hurting all those ad sets. People create multiple ad sets and multiple ads within the ads because they believe that Facebook is going to auto-optimize, and they will to a specific level. But at some point, you're actually hurting yourself because the algorithm and the artificial intelligence is going, hey, the numbers just don't make sense here. You have a $5 conversion and a $10 budget. I can never serve you more than 2 sales in a day, so anything between 0 and 2. So I'm going to do this for a little bit, and then I'm going to realize that, hey, my customers aren't getting satisfied. So I'm going to go out and find somebody else who can get more conversions, more sales, which is going to get them to spend more money and make me happy on the intelligence side, but also let them know that their customers are being satisfied because the customers are taking the action that indicates that they're satisfied. Does this make sense, guys? I know it's a little technical and a little heavy, but this is super hard, critical stuff you need to understand. And this is, again, stuff that nobody teaches and nobody knows about. Okay, I'm going to grab a drink real quick because I'm about to lose my voice. How many of you guys are learning something here? How many of you already learned something? William said, I've heard this nowhere else. Ed thinks I'm a stud. Just kidding, Ed. I see you meant stuff. Okay, cool. Aurora, yes, never heard this before. I am all new to me. Awesome. Good. It's good. Okay. I told you guys I took care of my insiders. Let me give you all the juicy stuff. Okay. So now we understand the conversion rate. Let's look at this graphically. All right. So this is a graphic representation of the bid versus your daily budget correlation. Okay. How do they correlate? So if you look over at the left side, okay, James, A/B testing on Facebook is different than letting it auto, than just the auto. I'm not talking about dedicated split testing. I was just talking about letting the ads duke it out. So looking at this thing, this is a graphic representation of what I was just explaining to you. So if you look at the daily budget equals $5. So it's at the $5 mark, and then you can see to the left of that, there's only one conversion possible with that because you have a, in this case, we also have a $5 conversion value, all right? So if your daily budget's 5 and you have a $5 conversion value, Facebook is going to serve between 0 and 1 conversions a day. The thing is, because there's a range, there's still two, a 0 and a 1, right? That's still two numbers. So Facebook is going to basically be okay and think it's doing right by you by serving you 0 conversions because it's within the tolerance range of the 1 or the 0, right? Now, so there is a very, very important correlation between the size of your daily budget and your bid, okay? I actually have a note written here that I'm going to read it because this is a note for myself. Where's my note go? Conversion rate predictions are impacted heavily by daily budget as it relates to your max bid. The conversion bid of $5 and a daily budget of $5, you will mostly get 0 conversions each day, like I said. When you optimize for conversion, your daily budget needs to be many times your max manual bid per conversions. The higher the max bid to daily budget ratio, the better. Okay, so these are the notes that I took when we were getting taught this stuff by our Facebook rep. So if you look here, $30 a day means that there are potentially 6 conversion options within that day, right? Because if you divide your $5 budget into 30, okay, you're going to see the 6 different conversion options, right? So now if you have a $30 daily budget and a $5 daily bid per conversion, Facebook says, okay, somewhere between, 1 and 6 is what they're going to serve you. Okay, and so you're going to default somewhere in the middle. You get 3 to 4, stuff like that. So by having it be many, many times that, you can actually, basically if your budget's too low, you're stunting the amount of conversions you're going to get. And by making it higher, you're also telling because we have no proof on this aspect, but it's common sense because it's the same. We know Google works this way, and it makes sense from an advertiser perspective. The higher your daily budget is an indicator to the Facebook ad platform that you're willing to spend more money, and its job is to spend money so that it can collect that money, right? So we don't have any proof that this is actually a factor in their calculation, but it only makes sense that it is. It's why back in the early days when they had to do manual approvals for all of the ads, everybody would always say, hey, if you can't get your ad approved, make the bid like $1,000 a day, that you're willing to spend $1,000 a day. And then guess what? All of a sudden your ads got approved very quickly. Ads that have been sitting there for 3 days, when you change the bid to the budget to $1,000 a day, all of a sudden they approved your ad instantly. And then as soon as it was approved, you can go back and adjust your budget back down to where you want it. You don't have to do that anymore because they have a manual system. But this is why your daily budget is also very important. James says, can you do conversion targeting right away? Or is it like Google and you need 30 conversions? Great question, James. It's better if you have a batch of conversions already. So what a lot of us do is we start out with an ad and we're running it, clicks to website type thing. Then as soon as we start getting some data, we'll switch our conversion targeting to target add to carts because we're going to get way more add to carts than we're going to get purchases. And if you need to walk it back further, you could say, a specific page view. If they land on the sales page, we're going to target those people or people who click through to the sales page or people who opt in. So what you can do though is you can start optimizing for add to carts because those are going to build up first until you get enough sales data in your sales conversion to make it work. You can start with conversion optimization right away, but if you don't have any conversions, the AI doesn't know what you're looking for yet. Okay, so that's why when you're doing exploratory ads, you need to kind of build the data out so that, and both you can figure out your audience, your targeting, and so that the ad platform can also figure out what your targeting is and who your optimized people are. Because right now we don't know if you're starting out a new ad. Does that make sense, James? William says, what would cause me to have 5 sales one day and 0 the next? So there's a whole number of things that could happen there, William. Number one, it could be that you have, well, first of all, what are you targeting? I mean, did you actually set a conversion value, or were you doing impression-based bidding or link click bidding or whatever it was? So one of the main things is basically somebody we go back to the other thing. If your ad starts slowing down, let's go back up here. If delivery slows down, AI doesn't think it can deliver any more conversions at or below the max bid if you're doing conversions. The other piece is if it's not showing enough, which means you're getting sales, but now it's not showing, is that you're not winning the auctions, meaning someone else is winning the auctions that you were winning. So you had 5 sales one day, and the next day you have 0. Well, means somebody else came into that same audience and may be bidding a penny more than you, or has a higher relevant score on their ads, and basically their total value here, or total value score, is higher than you, so now they're winning the auctions, okay? Yeah, so what WC purchase, 25, bid $100 budget, spending all the budget. Yep, so that looks right here. You're not winning the auctions for the conversion pixel, for the conversion, the ones that are most likely to convert. You're getting the remnant traffic. Someone else is outperforming you with this bear formula. When you win the auction, yes, you are winning that. So you're actually not winning traffic, you're winning impressions, meaning that when you win the auction, your ad will be shown to that audience. It's not saying they're going to click, hopefully they click, but it's saying that when you win the auction, your ad is the most relevant ad to that audience at the best total value score, so they're going to show it to those people. So it's basically you're winning the impressions. Does that make sense, Aurora? Okay, Ed, I'll address that. I want to in a second. That's a great question, but I think I'm going to cover some of that. That's going to help it clarify for you. So let's readdress that in a couple slides, okay? All right. So is everybody clear on how the bids and daily budget ratio, how that kind of correlates together? Okay, let's go. Next thing is the audience size. So the AI, artificial intelligence, compares audience size to conversion bid and budget. So it's not only looking at the total value score, it's also looking at your audience size. So if you have a super small targeted audience, they're going to look at it and say, hey, you know, first of all, this audience is smaller, so it's going to cost more. That's why the small audiences always have higher costs. Then they're going to look at your conversion bid and say, okay, we're going to have to charge more. Is it not necessarily is it worth it, but can we serve up conversions with this person's total value score at this price with this daily budget? So everything else comes into play, but then they add an extra layer of refinement over it where it's saying, hey, how big is your audience size? The more narrow the audience, the harder it is for Facebook to find the people to match up to you, which is crazy because we always talked about, you know, super laser focused targeting, right? And that's true in terms of who your actual target buyer is. But the trick now is to find out what larger, broader demographic or audience or interest does your target customer hide in. So if your target customer is a 50-year-old woman who likes to cook and, you know, lives in the Midwest, or not even Midwest, that's too terrible. Let's just say a 50-year-old woman who likes to cook and lives in the United States. Let's just do that. Well, do I target only cooking, or do I target something like Oprah or talk shows or something like that, something super broad, but I still know the people who are going to convert, and my conversion pixel has that data showing that, hey, the people who buy this the most are the 50-year-old women who convert, but I'm targeting a broad audience, so Facebook can dig way deeper into it's like basically trying to fish in an ocean or fish in a bucket. Where are you going to find more fish, in the ocean or the bucket? So the broader your audience, they're going to perform better, and win more auctions. This is providing that your ad account is in good standing, that you have a good batch of conversion fires that shows who your actual buyer data is, a significant number of purchase pixel fires, and that the Facebook intelligence can actually look at your account, which we're going to cover in a second, and make all the right decisions based on the data that your account has acquired. That's called seasoning, right? So if the ad delivery is down based on your audience, like let's say it was kicking butt for a long time and all of a sudden it just started dribbling off, you should try expanding your audience size, okay? So again, if you have an audience of like 30,000 people, see if you can't bump that up to 100,000 people, and then from 100,000 to 200,000. Most of our best converting audiences right now are over 1 million, okay? So, and then some of our really good converting ones are much bigger than that, okay? So it doesn't, and we're still targeting very specific people, but our audience size that we're targeting to, the ad speaks very specifically to the people we want, but the actual interest targeting that we're telling Facebook, saying, hey, fish in this ocean is a very, very big ocean. Ed, the more pixel fire or purchase pixel fires, the better. Ideally, you want to, at least 100 to 200. We like to go for 1,000 to really, before we really broaden our audience too much. Again, it's all about statistical significance. The smaller your sample size, the less statistically relevant it is over a big size, over a big audience, right? Now, according to Tower Data, which is one of the big data companies, they say that a sample size of 400 is equal. Shit, Matt, what's it equal to? I already forgot. Sample size of 400 is equal to. 400 people that answer a survey is equal to. Yeah. Okay. So I had to ask for help there. So the sample size, or people who filled out a survey of 400 people who filled out a survey, is equal. The spread will be exactly the same of an audience of 1.5 million. So statistical relevance in that case happens around 400. So you could roll that into the Facebook thing if you want. Okay. We like 1,000 sales before we go super broad on our audiences. Now, Ed's like, just need that first 1,000. Of course. If you don't have 1,000, that's fine. Just don't have that broad of an audience yet, okay? The smaller your sample size of your purchase pixel that you're optimizing for, the smaller your audience should be until that builds up. Does that make sense? Total score, Norman, that's the Bear formula. TS stands for total score. Okay, again, now too many ad sets targeting the same audience can kill performance of all the ad sets that are competing for that same auction audience. So basically, if you have ad sets with overlapping audiences and your audience is not broad enough, that overlap is actually hurting you because you're bidding on yourself. You're competing with yourself on too small of an ocean, okay? You're overfishing. Now, if your audience is super broad, say a few million, you can get by with multiple ad sets, even duplicating the ad sets, right, and running them all to the same audience, because it's going to take longer to dig deeper into that audience. But if your audiences are smaller, the overlap can actually hurt you. Ed says he thinks he's guilty of that. William's doing that wrong right now. Okay. Now, that's not to say, guys, that you don't want to duplicate an ad and let it run to the same audience. But if it's, you don't necessarily need to have 10 ad sets running to that same, 100,000 person audience or 50,000 person audience, right? And, a lot of times we'll duplicate ads that are doing well, like, hey, this ad's getting 1 to 2 sales a day. It's only getting a small reach. Okay, cool. Let's just duplicate it and see if we can get 3 or 4 of those ads, each doing 1 to 2 sales a day and on the same audience. But here's the thing. As soon as we start messing with the daily budgets and trying to expand the reach of all those different campaigns to, quote unquote, scale them, then we screw ourselves and it kills our performance on all those ad sets. So if you're okay with having like 30 ads driving trickle sales with smaller budgets, that's how you can attack the same audience, a smaller audience with multiple ad sets, because you're constraining yourself. But even then, at some point, it's going to come back and bite you. But there's no reason not to ride that wave of trickle sales until it peters out. So here's a handful of success tips that are going to go through and help kind of dial some more of this stuff in based on what we just covered. First of all, you need to have one ad account per domain. Okay? The idea here is, remember, we're dealing with artificial intelligence that is algorithmic and not intuitive. So you have to give it only the data that it needs. So if you have multiple domains in one ad account, you're confusing the artificial intelligence, because let's say you have, all of us have been guilty of this in the past. Let's say you were running t-shirts on Teespring and t-shirts on Viral Style. And then you had your Pitbull lovers domain, and then you had your yoga domain, and you're running ads to all of those out of the same ad account. All those people have different audiences. All those people have different conversions. All those people have different, those audiences are different. The Facebook AI goes, what the hell? Which one do I optimize for? Which one are you actually is important? And it tries to correlate all this data, and it doesn't work. Okay, so when we talk about pixel seasoning and seasoning your ad account with solid data that allows you to do zero targeting and broad targeting and all this stuff, if you have multiple domains, this doesn't work. Okay, if it's a subdomain of the same domain and it's all about the same niche, then no, it does not hurt. But if it's like store.com and your subdomain is dogs, and then your other subdomain is cats, and then your other subdomain is yoga, then yes, that will hurt, because those are completely different audiences. So ideally, if you're in doubt, create a new ad account. They're free. Okay. If you're not sure, just create another ad account. You can always share your audiences across your different accounts. Okay. So, and if you are doing this already, if you have an ad account that you've been using for a while and it's got all these different ads or different domains being used, and you wonder why things aren't converting, that's why, because the Facebook Pixel or the Facebook AI doesn't have a clue what your account, it's basically like a jumbled up mess. Okay, they can't figure out what they want. So if this is the case for you, what you need to do is scrap that ad account and start a new one with one domain. Don't try to salvage, you can't. It'll take way too long. You could salvage it if you're willing to spend a lot of money over a long period of time to flush out the old data with new data, but you're never going to have the performance that you would have out of a brand new account. So one account per domain, and the other thing that we do is one account per domain, but also per niche. So if you have a domain, like a subdomain thing like Ed was talking about, that covers different niches, then make each one of those things a different ad account just to keep it as separate. We like to make it as dialed in as possible. Google shorteners does not hurt you at all. That's Facebook's smart enough to know that that's nothing. If you have a general store selling to many niches, well, you're already shooting yourself in the foot in a lot of ways, because it's very hard to, if you have multiple niches on one store and you're trying to do direct response marketing through Facebook ads and copy and emails and stuff like that, it's very, very hard to grow that store. I would actually niche that store out into multiple stores where you can actually focus the demographic on the audience. But if you have a general store selling to many niches, all you can do is try to make it work, or create specific subdomains, or the other option, and I haven't tested this myself, but this is something that we've been thinking about, if we ever needed to do it, would be to buy more domain names and then just point them towards that section of the store, if that makes sense. So you have petstore.com going to the pet section, and you have motorcyclestore.com going to the motorcycle section. And you create an ad account for each of those domains. Okay, all right. So one ad account per domain. This is critical. The next thing is 3 keys to good ad performance. Number 1, your overall ad account health must be good. So there is another calculation that's happening that's not part of the auction, that is part of your ad account health. And this is how long it takes your ads to get approved, a reflection of that. It's also how often your ads wind up in review by other people, Also, why they won't adjust your spending limit and let you spend more money. All comes down to what your ad account health is. That is also factored into the algorithm of how they calculate the BEAR, the total value, right? So things like if your ad account gets flagged a lot for ads, or they need to manually review your ads a lot, they're always getting flagged. If you run a lot of infringing or have run a lot of infringing offers, then, or also if you have a payment method to pay for your ads and you have a lot of declines or they have to keep following up with you, all of those things are going to negatively impact your ad account health. So just to say this out loud, those of you guys who, if you almost everybody who was in the t-shirt thing was selling infringing designs at one time, okay? Whether they knew it or not, but if you're selling a Star Wars t-shirt, you don't have the rights to sell a Star Wars t-shirt unless you have the licensing. Same thing for the NFL teams and all those different kinds of, and all the sports teams and all that stuff, which were all the biggest shirts that were selling, okay? Or people selling the Star Wars keychain. Yep, they don't have a right to sell those either. So here's the thing. They may be slipping through right now, and they're not even slipping through. Facebook knows who these people are, okay? And there's no secret there. They know exactly who is selling the Star Wars keychain, who is selling the fake shirts. They know, and they've got an entire database of proof that backs that up. In the near future, they're going to be going after those people and pulling them off. Or if they're not going to go after them themselves, all they're going to do is turn over that data, that proof, to Disney's attorneys who say, hey, here's a cut and dried case, go get them. So number one, if you're doing that crap, stop doing it. If you're not doing it, great, don't start. Next thing is if you were doing it in one ad account, create a new ad account that's fresh and don't do any more infringing stuff at all, and definitely don't do it with the ad account that you're just starting out, okay? The other thing is no negative ads. So whenever you have an ad that gets a lot of negative attention and your relevance score drops or flagged, or customers basically don't want to see your ad, as soon as that ad gets negative, delete it. You're never going to save an ad that starts to go negative. So you're better off just deleting it and making a new ad and starting over, okay, within that same ad account. The other thing is you need good user engagement. So comments, shares, likes, clicks, all those things. The more user engagement your ad has, the better off your ad performance is going to be, because that's number 3 in the BEAR formula, is the user engagement rate and how the customer interacts with that ad. Does this make sense, guys? Okay. Negative feedback. Okay, negative feedback is when someone, clicks on your ad and says don't show, or spam, or I don't like this, or reports it, or whatever else. Negative feedback is linked to a specific URL, not the ad, not the domain, and not the ad account. So what's the solution when you have an ad that has negative feedback? Change the URL and you're back in business. You can use the exact same ad. You just have to change the URL. Facebook assigns negative feedback linking it to the URL. So if it is store.com/shirt, you change the URL to store.com/blue shirt, and you're back in business. Okay, so this simple change right here can bring your winning ads that have died off back to life. So here's what happens. You have an ad that's crushing it, okay? And it's just running all over the place. You're selling, this happens with t-shirt ads all the time, right? You're running and you're selling a ton of t-shirts, and all of a sudden it starts to work less, and then you duplicate it and it still starts to work less and less and less and less. And over time it goes from making tons of sales to making no sales, and you just can't figure out why. You think it's banner blindness or whatever else, right? Well, chances are when people see the same ad over and over again, they'll start, like, more people will start reporting it, they'll start clicking it, and they'll start giving it negative feedback. So what you can do to try to bring that ad back to life is simply change the URL and then bring it back to life, and it'll start over with fresh feedback. Okay, instead of trying to bump or duplicate the same ad. So, like, because you think the negative feedback is associated with the ad, so what you do is you delete the ad, or you stop the ad and duplicate it and start over. Well, but you didn't change the URL, so that negative feedback follows to that new ad, and that new ad starts with negative feedback. Whereas if you duplicate the ad and then change the URL and then make it go live, well, now that ad has a fresh URL, so Facebook assigns it a fresh feedback score. That's a pretty good little tip right there, guys. So if you have an ad that was kicking butt for you and it just stopped, give this a shot. It might bring it back to life. Also, we're getting to the end of this, but the biggest leverage point to winning your auctions and getting the best converting traffic, okay? So the idea is you want to win the auction and get the most traffic that's most likely to convert, as just as much of that as you can get, right? The number one leverage point that you control in your business is not even in the Facebook platform. It's on your website. And that is the percentage of add to carts that turn into a purchase. Okay? So you're going to have your people who are buying. They add the part to cart. The higher the percentage of the people who go from add to cart to purchase and actually purchase, the people who fire both standard event pixels, that the higher that percentage number is, and that's what they look at. Facebook is looking at the pixel fires. The higher the number that is, the more leverage you're going to have in winning the auctions. That's the single biggest factor that you can control in the Bear formula. And reducing your cart abandonment rate is the way to solve that and give you the highest percentage point in that calculation. The lower your cart abandonment rate, or the more successful your cart abandonment follow-up in campaigns, the better off it is. And Facebook calculates this percentage on a 28-day average. Okay, so they look at it over a 28-day window to see what the percentage of add to carts to purchase in. Okay, and obviously the sooner the purchase, the more weight it gets. So if it's like within that 24-hour period, it gets more weight. But they do take the average to calculate the percentage over the entire 28-day range. And they recalculate it every day. Basically, it becomes a new 28-day range, right? So the focus here, which you should be trying to fix this anyway because it means more money for you, is reducing the cart abandonment rate. Now, the caveat here is if you try to spoof your percentages, that's only going to give you a shitty performance in the ad thing because you'll win, but they're not going to convert because you spoofed it with fake data. Okay, and Facebook actually knows that. So do it for real, you're going to make more money, and you're going to get more ads served to people who are going to buy, which means you're going to make even more money. Make sense? When it comes to pixel seasoning, Joel says, once again, I'm happy to be a part of your Insiders Club. Thanks, Joel. I'm glad you're here too. This is the kind of stuff I like to teach. I like to share, but you can understand how I can't just throw this kind of stuff in a book, right? This stuff changes. So the only way I can keep you up to date on it is like this. So pixel seasoning. Everybody has heard about pixel seasoning, right? Oh, you got to season your ad account, season your pixel. What the hell does that mean? Well, first of all, pixel seasoning takes time and volume of clicks, transactions, standard event fires, all of that. It's not something that happens the day you do it. The more traffic you send, the more standard event fires you have in the correct sequence, the faster and better seasoned your pixel will become. So seasoning basically refers to giving the AI enough data to figure out exactly what you're looking for and exactly who your people are. So what the AI needs is the complete customer journey, that complete path tracked all the way from click to purchase. Now, most people, most ads, most products that you're buying, they're teaching you to only track the visitor pixel, which is the view content when they land on your product page, and then the purchase. Because they say, hey, all you need is that purchase to fire, right? That's not true. Facebook needs the entire path. So for example, they need the ad click, which they track themselves. They need the view content of the landing page. They need the add to cart fire and the purchase. Because again, Facebook is building up mathematical data that it's using to calculate who these people are for you. So they want to know that that person, they clicked, they viewed the content, they added the cart, and they purchased, and what the timing was between them and what the sequence was and how it happened. So if they can track all those fires, they have more data points that allows the artificial intelligence and the machine learning to get more and more tightly focused on getting your ad to perform that much better and giving you better serving of the people who are going to buy. So 2 examples of this. The top one is what the path would look like if you were using a regular, Shopify or ClickFunnels, just add to sales page or add to product listing. So you track the click, which Facebook tracks automatically. Then you have the view content. Then you have the add to cart standard event, the initiate checkout standard event, and the purchase standard event. Facebook needs all of that. The AI needs all of that. If you skip something like go from click to view cart to purchase and you don't do the add to cart, Facebook's not going to have a complete data set. It's going to put like a flag, like a red flag up that says, hey, how did they get from view content to purchase? And it's going to negatively impact the way the AI is able to calculate who should be served your ads and how that converts, okay? And the next one is if you have a more complicated process, they need that as well. So here it goes, you're going to add to an opt-in, right, where they're going to subscribe. So they need the view content for the opt-in. They need the freebie, which is the lead, where the lead is actually tracked, so the person opted in. They need to know that person went from a click to a lead. Then they went to add to cart, initiate checkout, and purchase. Now they have more data on this person saying, hey, we know that someone who is a lead, we know over time what percentage of people who become leads also purchase, or the people who do lead and add to cart, within 28 days they're going to purchase. They can track all this stuff automatically and allow you to dial in better. This is what seasoning your pixel is like. And when you get this kind of data on large volumes of this data, or hundreds, thousands of pixel fires, now your pixel is quote unquote seasoned, and now you can start opening up to broader and broader and broader audiences and target broader audiences because your account and pixel is seasoned, and the Facebook intelligence knows, hey, we're dipping into a really, really wide ocean here, but I'm only looking for the blue fish that are 3 feet long, and it knows exactly who to target. And now it can find more blue fish that are 3 feet long in the ocean than it was able to find in the stream. That make sense? Heather, it's totally fine if you use ClickFunnels on the front end and then the Shopify buy button or whatever. If you're using ClickFunnels or a landing page and then sending them to Shopify checkout, that's totally fine. As long as you have that Facebook global pixel on every page so that it can track it and the standard events tracking through the pieces. So Oz, Facebook does not have an add to cart, and if you're using a funnel, yes, you do. So in a ClickFunnels, the add to cart would happen when they click the add to the buy now button and land on the order form. That's that signals the add to cart, okay, instead of initiate checkout in that case. Let's see. Okay, I think that's my last slide. Okay, cool. Yeah. So we can do questions now on some stuff for a little bit. I've got a few more minutes. Okay, so almost everyone else says just to start ads right at Optimize. Yeah, because it's lazy. It's easy. Okay, but the data and the machine learning can't optimize your campaigns for stuff it doesn't have data on. And if it's not a large enough data set, they can't optimize for it. That's why it makes no sense to start optimizing for purchase when you don't have any purchases in. What are they optimizing for? Nothing. So when do you move on from like add to carts to if you're optimized for add to carts? When do you move on to optimize for purchase? You can do that, depending on how many sales and traffic you're getting. If you're only getting a few sales, let's say you get to 20 sales, you can go ahead and optimize for purchase at that point because it's starting to kick in, right? But obviously, the more data, the better. Oz, you said, hang on, guys. Oh, I lost it. Hang on, Oz. I just lost your question. Let me find it again. Come on. There we go. Much placement as we can. Yes, it's per campaign. Norman says, finished reading the book and building out funnels now with ClickFunnels. What do you put in the root URL of your funnel? I don't even worry. You can put whatever you want there. Nobody uses the root URL of the funnel. The only URLs that matter are the URLs of the individual pages. Yes, KS, each niche should have its own ad account. And sometimes each niche, if you have multiple domains that have different pieces in it, they should each have their own ad account. So an easy example would be, look like Build, Grow, Scale, right? So I have an ad account specific for E-commerce Evolved, the book, and then I have my normal BGS ad account that does all my other Build, Grow, Scale advertising, because I want to very, very focus in on the book buyers, right? On just that other ad account. So that we only run traffic to the book people through that one ad account. James, the recommended budget to start with is a multiple of whatever your actual conversion value is. If your conversion value bid is 5, start with a multiple above that you can afford. So, if it's $5, then $30 kind of thing. Ed, yes, you can duplicate a campaign and raise the bid on the duplicated campaign. It's better to raise the bid on the duplicated one if you're going to make a bigger jump than it is to adjust the campaign that's already running, because we've all seen it usually goes screwy doing that. Oh, gosh, this question box is not working very well for me. Norman, you got to do that through your business manager. You have to have a business manager account, and that's how all your ad accounts are managed from within your business manager account. Oz, yes, exactly. If it ruins the optimization if it slows down and all of a sudden you're not getting. So yeah, let me just explain that question. If you optimize for 7 days conversion windows and you got 25 events, it starts to optimize, but then it slows down in the next 7 days, you're not getting any events. Yes, it ruins it. You're better off starting fresh. Yes, KS, that's right. The attribution, it changes. Facebook prefers they give more weight to the 1 day, but there's nothing wrong with a 7-day attribution. And you know what? It's also going to perform differently for different markets, different niches, different ads. You just never know. We gotta play with it. If you're going to do 7-day attribution, then yeah, you got to wait at least 7 days to get to. Otherwise, if you do a 7-day attribution, but you stop in 3, then that's not helping. Oz, that if you're having trouble getting that many conversions, it's probably that you aren't either your total value is not high enough, meaning that all the different little pieces that you can control aren't good enough, or your audience is too deep, or it's been too saturated by your overlapping ads. No, not separate ad sets for each placement, William. They're going to weight it with that one ad set. You'll allow it to go on multiple placements within that one ad set. If you break it out, then it's not getting that juice because it's all individualized. Ed says, Tanner, this is amazing. I've gotten more out of this than in total from a bunch of courses. The little things they miss when giving the strategies that make or break it are very painful. Much appreciated. Thanks, Ed. I appreciate it. William, appreciate that as well. All right, guys, we are going to wrap this up so I can get this recording up for you guys. It's already 213 gigs, so we got to squash that down and get it rendered. So this will be in the members area of the e-commerce Ecom Insider section. You log into the Build, Grow, Scale members area. You scroll down to the section that says Ecom Insider, and then you click the big green button that says Ecom Insider Portal. Okay, that's how you get into the Ecom Insider Portal. And I will see you guys in there. All right, have a great day, and we will also have another call next month with some more cool stuff. See you guys.